Okay, welcome everybody to our new unit about tourism. Today we're just going to start off with the basics of tourism with our introduction. We're going to look at what is tourism, what are the types of tourism, what are tourist attractions, and why it's important to look at tourism. So by the end of this video you should be able to answer these 5 questions about tourism. Firstly, what is tourism? Secondly, what are the different types of tourism? Also, you should be able to explain what is a tourist attraction and how are they categorised. And also, most importantly, why is it important for us to understand and study tourism? Okay, so the first question that we're going to answer is what is tourism? Now, the definition of tourism is tourism is the business of providing tours and services for tourists. So firstly, we need to understand that it is a business. We are looking at it from the perspective of running tours and making money. Rather than being the people who are travelling, we're looking at it as the perspective of being a business. The 2 things that you need to understand about what tourism is it's providing tours, such as this bus. Okay, this is a bus that drives around London, I believe, okay, and providing services such as this fishing charter, such as accommodations, restaurants, art galleries, museums, anything like that. So the number one thing to remember is that when you're examining tourism as a topic, it is not focused on organising holidays, it's rather on the organisation of the things that help people enjoy their holidays. So our next question that we're going to answer is what are the different types of tourism? There are 3 different types of tourism and hopefully you will get to enjoy those types of tourism across your lifetime. One that we have probably all done, even just on excursions, is local tourism. So local tourism is tourism within your own state, your own province, or anywhere in the main area that you live. So hopefully you have all done a bit of local tourism. Here in Adelaide we do actually have a lot of tourist attractions that are directed at local tourists. 2 prime examples happen in March with the V8 supercars and the Adelaide Fringe. So they are actually directed at people in Adelaide to go and spend money and enjoy. So the next type of tourism that we are going to look at is national tourism. Now, national tourism occurs within the country that a person lives but outside the immediate area. So an example of a national tourism event for us would be, for example, going to Queensland and visiting the theme parks. So anything within your own country that is outside the immediate area that you live in is national tourism. And the last part of tourism is international tourism, and of course that is outside the country that a person lives. So this is where the big money lies for the tourism industry, and basically a lot of our money in Australia is directed towards providing tourist attractions and services that encourage people from outside Australia who live elsewhere in the world to come and visit us here in Australia. So the next question that we're going to address is the question of what is a tourist attraction, and the definition of a tourist attraction is a physical or cultural feature of a particular place that individual travellers or tourists perceive as capable of meeting one or more of their specific leisure-related needs. So the key thing to take out of that definition is that there are 2 types of tourism. There is physical tourist attractions such as the Sydney Harbour Bridge, okay, pictured here. Now, a physical tourist attraction is something that you can look at, you can see it, you can take photos of it, you can stand on it, you can touch it. It's not really going to change over time, it remains exactly the same. So for example, the Sydney Harbour Bridge is something that you can look at, you can take a picture of it, you can walk on it, you can drive on it, okay, but it's not going to change from one time to the next time. The second type of tourist attraction is cultural tourist attraction. So this is something like an event. So for example, in Adelaide we have the Adelaide Fringe every year, and this is something that you can actually experience. You go, you experience it, it's different every night, it changes over time, it's different from year to year, and you go and you immerse yourself in that tourist attraction and you experience it. So that would be what a cultural tourist attraction is. So the second part of that definition was that it is a place or feature that meets one or more of a need of a traveller. So for example, a traveller might need to visit a unique type of bridge because they are a bridge enthusiast. So the Sydney Harbour Bridge would fulfil the need of that traveller to look at different types of bridges. On the other hand, perhaps the person is a comedy enthusiast. They really enjoy going to comedy shows. So the Adelaide Fringe, with its wide variety of comedy shows each night, would fulfil that need to go and see comedy shows. So that is how particular tourist attractions fulfil the need of travellers. So another question that we need to be able to answer is, how are tourist attractions categorised? So we've already categorised them into physical and cultural, but they can be further categorised into these three broad categories. So the first category that they can be categorised into is man-made attractions. So a man-made attraction can be a physical structure, such as Movie World, so it's built, it's not naturally occurring, it's a built structure. And it can actually be events that are put on as well. So, for example, the Olympics is a man-made tourist attraction. It doesn't naturally exist. It needs to be put on by people. The second type of tourist attraction is natural. So, a natural attraction is a physical feature that is deemed unusual or beautiful. Okay, so for example, Ayers Rock is deemed beautiful and unusual by many people, and people come from all over the world to look at it. Lastly, something that you actually don't want is a negative attraction. So a negative attraction is an attribute of an area that makes people choose not to visit a location. For example, crime or pollution. So a lot of people actually don't want to visit China because they know that there's a high level of pollution there and people actually have breathing difficulties going there. So some people might choose not to visit China because of the pollution, and that's what a negative attraction is. So the last question that we're going to address is, why is it important to understand tourism? Why are we even bothering doing a unit on it? Why am I even making this video? And you can see on the screen the reason why it's important, and it is big money for our country. Tourism contributes to our economy. It contributes $35 billion per year to the Australian economy, and that equates to $94.8 million a day is pumped into the Australian economy by tourism. So it's important that we understand that, because it actually makes a lot of money for our country, and so we have a lot of revenue that we can spend on things like schools, roads, hospitals, and all of those other things that our government pay for. Lots of it is actually contributed by tourism. Another reason that we need to understand tourism, because our country spends a lot of money on tourism. We spend a lot of money building and maintaining attractions. Okay, we're just building the Adelaide Oval now, which is costing a ridiculous amount of government money. So we need to understand why that government money is being spent on building Adelaide Oval. We also spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing here in Australia, and we spend that money to attract people from outside Australia to come and visit us. And that is a lot of money being spent, and we need to know why we spend that money. Lastly, tourism actually employs over 500,000 people directly in Australia. So that's a large portion of our society is actually employed by tourism. So it's important that tourism keeps going and growing in Australia so that those people have a job. You also find in areas like Queensland, like Western Australia, like Sydney, a higher concentration of people are employed in the tourism industry. So I hope that this video has helped you understand a few of the basics of tourism, and helped you understand why people study it and why we need to learn about it, because it is a very important part of any society, but particularly here in Australia, it's very important to our economy. The next video will be on the history of tourism, so look out for that one.